What should you expect during your interview for your E-2 visa in the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City? I am immigration attorney Kalani Hawks Villafranca, and I have guided my clients through the process of getting their E-2 visas granted through the embassy in Mexico City. And I wanted to come here today and share that information with all of you and share what they've been experiencing and what we've learned about what it looks like to have an E-2 visa interview in the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, because this process is new. You may not be aware, but historically, E-2 visas for Mexican nationals were processed only in Ciudad Juarez, in the consulate in Ciudad Juarez. That meant that everybody from the whole country had to go to Ciudad Juarez to get their E-2 visa. Earlier this year, in 2021, that changed. And Mexico City started accepting E-2 visa applications, which is wonderful. The embassy in Mexico City moves a bit faster, is easier to communicate with, and we've been really happy with them for our clients. So that's great. I'm really excited that the embassy in Mexico City is accepting E-2 visa applications. But so much of preparing for your interview for your E-2 visa is about knowing what to expect. And when a process is new, you can't know what to expect because no one's ever done it before. So my clients are some of the first people who've gone through this process. And so I wanted to come here and share with all of you what they have experienced so you can prepare for your E-2 visa interview in Mexico City. So first of all, before we get started on interview day, the first thing you should expect is that you need to be prepared. To have success with your E-2 visa, you need to prepare really well for your interview. And that means understanding your application completely. You need to know everything that has been filed by your attorney. If you don't have a copy of that, you need to ask for it, but I imagine that your attorney has sent you a copy of what they filed on your behalf. You want to make sure you review that, every single bit of it, and that you understand every piece of information in your file, because all of it's fair game. So immigration could ask you about anything in there during your E-2 interview, so you want to be prepared. If you're one of my clients, you know that I sit down with you and I prepare you for the interview, and I do that by walking you through the legal requirements for your case so you understand where the questions are coming from. Because when you understand where the questions are coming from, you're better prepared to answer them in a way that supports the success of your visa. So I'd really encourage you to ask any questions of your attorney if you have questions about your application or about any information that they filed on your behalf, to make sure you understand it and you know why it's there. So you feel really confident when you go into your interview that you know all the information that might be asked of you. The interviewers are looking to see that you know what you're talking about. This is really your company. You've really invested this money and you are committed to the success of this business. The E-2 visa is a visa created by treaties of trade and commerce between the United States and your home country. In this case, Mexico, but there are E-2 visas for many kinds of countries. The visas exist to support economic development. So they want to know that you're really going to do that. And so that you are the person who has created this company, or is that general manager of the company, and that you know what you're doing and you can make this company successful. So that's the best way to prepare, is to go through your application slowly and carefully and to understand everything in there and be really prepared to answer questions about it. Next, you should meet with your attorney to prepare. I meet with my clients, I help them understand what to expect, and I do some practice questions with them, especially if there's any part of your application that you know is tricky or that your attorney has identified as being a little bit risky. You want to be really clear on how you answer those questions because they might come up and you don't want to feel nervous in the moment. You want to practice them ahead of time. Okay, so you have applied for your E-2 visa. You've gotten an interview notice. You've prepared for your interview, and now it's the date of your interview. What should you expect? Well, in Mexico City, recently, we have found that they have helped our clients schedule biometrics appointments. That's the appointment you'd get for your fingerprints. The day before their interview the day before their interview, if they haven't already done them ahead of time. So normally, when you get an E-2 visa, you're going to schedule an appointment to get your fingerprints taken well before your interview is scheduled. But because there's sometimes a backlog, you have to wait 3 weeks, 2 months, 3 months to get your fingerprints taken. Sometimes you can't get those done before it's time for your interview. And so what am I supposed to do? I haven't had them done yet. In Mexico City, we found that the E-2 unit is really helpful. And they've been scheduling our clients who get stuck in that situation. They've had them come to the embassy the day before their interview and get all of their biometrics done in the embassy itself the day before their interview is scheduled. So keep that in mind. That might be a possibility for you if you find yourself in the same situation. So you've gotten your biometrics done either somewhere else or at the embassy in Mexico City just before your interview. And then on the day of the interview, you should show up ahead of time, be there early. You don't want to have any issues parking or with a sick kid or anything in the morning that delays you. You want to treat this like it's a job interview. So you dress in a suit or otherwise very professionally, like you're going for a job interview, and you show up really early to make sure you have no issues showing up on time. When you get there, there will probably be a really long line out front. My clients have said that they don't have to stand in that line. They were able to flag somebody down and say, hey, I'm here for an E-2 interview. Am I supposed to stand in this line? And they have been told, no, you go up. Then you should try and find somebody who works at the embassy and ask them if you're supposed to stand in a line. I don't want you standing in a line for 2 hours and then to figure out it's the wrong line. That's no fun. So check in, see if you can find an official outside the embassy to ask when you get there where you should check in for your E-2 visa interview, because it might not be the same place as the really long line for people who are there for other reasons. Okay, so now you've shown up, you've checked in, and once you make your way inside, you're going to go through security like you do at any consulate or embassy. And so when you go through security, they're going to make you take everything out of your pockets. You're not going to be allowed to take your camera, your cell phone, any smartwatch that has internet stuff on it. You won't be allowed to take that stuff inside the embassy. So leave that in your car. You don't want to get to a place where you feel frazzled because you have to run back to your car and leave your cell phone. Leave all that stuff in your car and bring with you as little as possible, which really should just be yourself, your wallet, because you're going to have to pay your visa fee when you get approved, yourself, your wallet, and your E-2 application. You want to bring your E-2 application with you so you can reference those documents if you're asked for them. So you check in, you'll be asked what time your appointment is. They'll verify that it's you. They'll look at your identity documents, and then you wait. Just wait until you're called up. Our clients have told us that the wait times didn't seem that long. Just coincidentally, most of our clients have been being scheduled in the morning. Obviously, the earlier in the morning you are, the less likelihood that you'll have to wait, but you should be prepared to wait a decent amount of time. Sometimes the appointments get backed up, and so you're waiting 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours. And it's just make sure you're prepared. Eat a big breakfast, come ready to wait, and think about something you can do to keep yourself not too nervous while you wait. Maybe study your application. Okay, when it's your turn to have your interview, you're going to be called up to a window. In Mexico City, you're not sitting in a separate private office. You're actually standing at a window with an official on the other side. And there will be other people up there too at other windows answering questions about their business. So I want you to be prepared for that. It might feel a little busy. It's not going to feel very private. You might be able to overhear other people and they're going to be able to overhear you. That's okay. But I want you to be ready for it because it can feel a little strange because this is such a big deal to you. And it's really important, and it's very weird to be asked these questions like you're just going to renew your driver's license. Like it's very government office like, but that doesn't mean there's a problem with it. I just want you to be prepared for it. So you will stand at the counter, and on the other side of the window will be somebody who has your application. They'll have a computer up looking at your DS-160, and they'll be able to see your full packet that your attorney has filed for you. And then they'll ask you questions. My clients have reported that in Mexico City, the E-2 visa unit has been really kind. They've been very welcoming, and that they have not asked too many questions. One of my clients, however, did report the person next to him was getting a lot of questions about an E-2 visa, a lot of really hard questions. So it is important to prepare both that it's important that your attorney files a really good application for you on the front end, because if the information is clear and correct in your application, you won't get as many questions because they won't need you to clear up issues. It'll be clear from your application. And you need to prepare because just in case you do get a lot of questions, you want to be ready. Answering a question poorly or not knowing the answer to the question might mean you get more questions so they can make sure you know what you're talking about. So you want to make sure you're ready. So your actual interview could be anywhere from 3 or 4 minutes to 20 or 30 minutes, depending on how many questions they ask. We see that typically these interviews are taking about 10 minutes for our E-2 visa clients in Mexico City. They generally will tell you right then that your visa is approved. which is super exciting. You will get to know right in that very moment that they have approved your E-2 visa. The next thing that happens is that you go to a separate part of the embassy to pay your visa fee. We've had clients say they sent the whole family there. Some others, they want the applicant to stay at the window and they send the spouse off to pay the visa fee. However it happens, your next step is paying the visa fee. And remember that you'll have to pay that for each family member who needs a visa. Keep in mind, this is something else I want you to know. Usually children don't have to go with you to the embassy if they're under about 14 years old. They don't usually ask for children under 14 to come to the E-2 visa interview. But for our clients, we have had children as young as 7 asked to come to the interview with their parents for the E-2 visa. So that's something to keep in mind because they don't ask the kids any questions. They don't do anything when they're there, but they expect them to be there. So that's something that you'll really want to check with your attorney or with the embassy directly if you don't have an attorney to make sure that you take everybody who's supposed to be at the interview with you. Okay. Once you get your approval at the window, you'll go pay your visa fee, and then you will get a little piece of paper saying approved and a sticker that tells you when to come back and pick up your actual visa. They will keep your passport because they're going to print the visa foil paper actually in your passport. So you'll leave your passport with the embassy and then you'll leave and you'll celebrate because you've just gotten your E-2 visa approved. So you'll go out to your favorite restaurant, call your family, do whatever it is that you do to celebrate really good news. And then you'll come back when it's time for your visas to be picked up, when they've been printed in your passport and it's time to pick up your visas. Our clients have reported that they've been able to pick up their visas really quickly, sometimes the next day, sometimes 2 or 3 business days later. But that's really good. There are other consulates that take 2-3 weeks to get you your documents back. It's not been the case for our clients. They have been able to come back to the embassy in Mexico City 2 or 3 days later, and there's actually a separate section, a building kind of that's not part of the embassy, but it's attached to it just to the side, and where they process the visas and work permits and that kind of stuff. And you go there and actually pick up your visa in your passport from that location right next to the embassy. So that's where you'll go back to get your documents. And then you're good to go. You're ready to enter the country with your E-2 visa, which is super exciting. I hope that this has helped you understand a little more about what to expect from your E-2 visa interview in Mexico City, because I know that knowing what to expect helps you feel a little calmer and a little more confident going into your interview. And that's what I want from you. And that's what I want for you, because your interview will be more successful if you feel more confident and more prepared to ace your interview. And I know you can. So I hope this information has been helpful, and I wish you so much luck at your interview. If you have any questions, or if you don't have an attorney and you need one, give me a call, 512-675-2945. I handle these cases for my clients all the time, and I would love to help you. Bye.